All right, how we doing out there, out in Facebook land? Welcome to another week of Summit Studios presents our weekly ukulele class, whatever you want to call it. I'm here, I'm Ben, guitar, uke, bass, string teacher, work at Summit Studios, here to bring you some music during these weird, funky times from the comfort of my home studio. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for being here. Excited to get into today's lesson today, and we'll just kind of work our way through the details and take it nice and slow, and we'll get it rolling here. Let me just turn that off. As always, I'm just going to do a quick spiel here. This is a free class. It's something that we provide through Summit Studios as kind of a thank you to our community of musicians and people who support us week after week, month after month, year after year. Sandra Pryor, good to see ya. So yeah, this is a free class. It's something we do because we love music and we want to support you guys, and we know the love is reciprocal. Alicia, good to see ya. So should you feel like you want to support what's happening here, instead of directing donations and money to Summit Studios itself, we're asking that you would redirect those funds to our friends, MAC Charities, the Manchester Area Conference of Churches. Excellent local resource. It provides food, clothing, advocacy, and outreach for the unmet basic needs of people in our community. We have a link on our Facebook page, so you can check it out there. They also have a website as well. But should you feel generous, that's the place that you want to put that generosity. So, crazy times. If you've been tuning in week to week, you already know this, but I'll just say this for anybody here who's new. Summit Studios is offering lessons the same way we would before COVID. It's online lessons now. But it's still really high caliber, high quality lessons. We're doing a lot of cool digital content, a lot of cool media based connections that keeps everybody safe and healthy, but also keeps the music education flowing. And we've had a lot of success and a lot of support from you guys. So if you're somebody who's just tuning in and not already signed up for lessons, please get in touch with us. We can get you rolling on pretty much any instrument you can think of. You can check us out. The number's 860-645-1502. We have a website, summitstudios.org. If you're a Facebook fan, it's Summit Studios on Facebook. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get connected, but this is a really great sort of thing to do if you're interested in music lessons. So there's the spiel. I won't go too much deeper than that, other than saying thank you again for being here and checking out the lesson, and I hope you find some value into this today. I think this is about the fourth week that we've done this, the fourth sort of lesson, and I've been trying to ramp it up in difficulty, but also keep it just really simple and basic, just so that anybody can jump in at any point. So today's lesson is no different. The last few weeks' lessons have been centered around a kind of a reggae vibe. And now that I didn't even think about this, but the band UB40, who's really famous for songs like Red Red Wine and other songs of that nature, they've totally covered this song in a reggae fashion. So I promise I'm not a reggae exclusive enthusiast, but it just keeps coming up in the uke sort of music. So yeah. Today I wasn't necessarily thinking reggae though. Today I'm thinking the original version. We're going to cover Can't Help Falling in Love with You by Elvis Presley. Total classic. Yeah, thank you, Alicia. And again, it's just a staple. It's probably has the most chords, and by probably I mean definitely has the most chords of any of the lessons that we've dealt with so far as this class. So if there is a difficulty marker that we're jumping up, that's where the difficulty is. The strum patterns are very simple, very basic. I didn't even mark them. That's how basic it's going to be today. But the chords are going to be what's challenging, and there's some stuff I'll help clear up for you guys in terms of how to read the chord charts and everything like that. But yeah, let's get into it. Before we get to playing any sort of music, ukulele, 4 strings, As a stringed instrument player, you always want to make sure that your instrument is in tune. It's what I recommend that every single musician who plays a string instrument start with when they sit down to practice to play, no matter what you're doing. That's where you want to start. So, 4 strings, they're all attached to these posts here, which are connected to the tuning machines. And basically you want to adjust the tension to match each string to a particular pitch. Hold that thought real quick. It's a tickle in my throat, I promise. Nothing more. So, just quickly, again, if you're a uke player who's played for a while, you probably already know this, but just going over the fact that each string needs to be tuned to a particular pitch. Now, the string that's closest or furthest away from your face is string number 1. So it's string 1, 2, 3, 4. String number 1, you're gonna tune that to an A pitch. The next string number 2, is going to be an E pitch. String number 3 is going to be a C pitch. And lastly, string number 4 is going to be a G pitch. Now, there's a lot of different ways to tune your instrument. I like to use headstock tuners. There's a lot of different brands out there. At Summit Studios in particular, we stock snark tuners, which are really popular and handy. I have this particular one by the company Polytune, which is really kind of infamous for the high-end tuners. And these are kind of the best. You have the apps that you can use as well, and those are great. They just pick up room noise and stuff like that. So if you got kids watching TV in the other room or dogs barking, it'll pick up all that when you're using your phone. I like these because they just measure the vibrations through the neck, and they're not interfered, or they're not picking up any interference from outside of that. So I'm just going to quickly double check my tuning, and I'll do it so you can kind of see that as well. And I'm doing this backwards, but I can see it in my screen here. It takes a really light touch. If you're new to tuning, by the way, you can see I'm barely moving my tuner in order to get the result that I'm looking for. If I turn too hard, it just will go way out. So you really want to have a really light hand. You always want to tune in a circle. So if you're starting from string 1, it's string 1, string 2, I'm doing this backwards, string 1, string 2, string 3, string 4. It's always in a circle that you're looking for. So A note, E note, C note, and that's good, and G. I tuned earlier today, and thankfully this thing's in tune. So, if you're in tune, you should hear something like that. If not, take a moment, adjust that, but we're just going to ease right into the lesson today. So, again, we're doing Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis Presley. So, for those of you who are on the beginner side of things, it's going to be just really basic and easy in terms of how to count through the chart. We had posted the chart and the lyrics earlier today, so hopefully you have a copy of that in front of you. If not, I'll show you some pictures of it a little bit. But what you'll notice in this lesson, and pretty much every lesson that I've taught so far, is that you end up with the chords on the top, and the dots are telling you which fingers to use. Now, I kind of made the mistake today, and I didn't write the numbers of which finger to place. So I'm going to go through chord by chord and tell you which fingers to use and demonstrate those. And then we're going to get to the actual playing of the parts. So every time you see a slash mark, Matt Reeves, good to see you. Sharon Ricard, Joanna Snyder, everybody's tuning in. Good to see you. Thanks for being out there. Your markings here, these little slash marks, are just telling you that that's a strum. So you're basically just counting the slash marks and following along. And whenever you see a new chord name above, you just switch to that chord. I know it's easier said than done, but... So I'm going to go through the chords here. We have 9 chords in total. C, the M next to the chord names, just because of the font that I used, they're not lowercase. Normally I make them lowercase, but I liked this font, so I kept it today. But the M next to the first letter name is going to stand for minor. It's, again, the type or flavor of sound, minor. It's sad, it's a little darker. Anything without an M next to it, like this C here, is major. It's happy, it's bright. there are 3 chords over here. Let's see if I can do this in reverse. G, B, and A that are 7th chords, which is kind of like a major chord, but a little more playful, a little different in sounding. So we have major chords, minor chords, and 7th chords. 3 different types of chords, 9 chords total. Chord number 1, the most basic, commonly used chord, you're going to use your ring finger to play fret number 3 on string number 1 and just strum everything else. That's your C chord. And again, you're going to be shooting for the center of the fret as often as you can. You want to be right in the middle, not on the bar, in the middle. C chord, the easy one. Next one is E minor. And when I learned, I started with guitar as a string instrument. And I was kind of self-taught, so I learned a lot of visual things to compensate for the fact that I didn't have a lot of traditional music education to fall back on. And so I got really good at kind of like thinking up shape names. And when I see this sort of shape, it reminds me of a staircase. If you look from my ring finger, it's like a staircase down. So in my head, even as I'm playing this and I have all the sort of music theory knowledge now as a professional to know what's going on, but still in my head as I see this, what comes to my brain is, oh, this is the staircase shape. So I'm starting my ring finger at fret 4, middle finger at fret 3, index on fret 2, and that's on strings 3, 2, and 1. I have an open 0. So this is a 3-finger chord, a little more complex. The next chord in line, very simple. Your middle finger is going to grab the 2nd fret of the string closest to your face, and everything else is open. This is A minor. And by no coincidence, the next chord, F, you get to keep your middle finger where it is, and you get to add your index on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, and now you have an F chord. So very, very nice, comfortable transition from A minor to F. You're just adding a finger. For the G chord, we're going to do, if we're going to go back to my sort of theories about shapes, to me, I talk about this as the sideways triangle. Your index and your middle are the straight line, and the ring finger is the apex of that triangle. At least that's the way I look at it when I hold it here. So it's 2, 3, 2 with a 0 on the top, and that's your G major. So if that's the sideways triangle, the G7, to me, I think about is the reverse of the sideways triangle, but I have to rearrange my fingers. So I go middle, index, middle. And now it's 2, 1, 2 with an open 1st string, again, or 4th string, excuse me. So that's G7. Again, it's happy in flavor, but I like to use the word playful. You can figure out whatever sort of qualitative term you want to use to describe it, but from a major chord like G to a 7th chord like G7, there's just a little detail of difference in how it sounds. So I like to call major just your very basic happy, bright, whereas this 7th chord is happy and bright, and it's a little more playful. So there you go. The next chord, and I'll just quickly show it, is B7. And this is by far the hardest chord, and I'm sure the center of some confusion for more beginning players, because you might be looking there and going like, hey, there's 5 dots, and I only have 4 fingers on the fretboard. How does that even work? How do I even get that done? And what it is the row where you have 4 in a row, it's actually your pointer finger. We haven't covered this yet, but it's your pointer finger laying flat over all 4 strings. This is a term, again, derived from the guitar community called barring. And barring refers to laying a finger flat over multiple strings to cover them with 1 finger. So easier said than done. Again, ukulele is a small, delicate instrument, so it's actually a little bit easier on this instrument than it would be on a guitar. Gene Mangan, good to see ya. Chris, good to see ya. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Your thumb placement here, and I'll do a little reverse, is really important. My thumb is kind of lined up this way because all of the pressure that's going to help my pointer finger push in to get enough strength to do that comes from the pad of my thumb. A lot of people want to go, and I'll try to get this in shot here, with the tip of their thumb, and it's the pad of your thumb. You want to lay your thumb flat to get the power from it. And you're pinching, and I hold it, the pad of my thumb, kind of right in the middle of the neck. I don't know if you can see that, but it is so that I get even distribution, or as close to even distribution, for all 4 strings. So I would start by attempting the B7 by just being able to get the 2nd fret to reach out and ring just by doing that. The only step left, and again I'll pull up this chord, so you have the bar right here, and then your middle finger is going to play that 1 note on the 3rd fret, which is just past the bar there. So again, I am pointer finger is going to lay flat across, and then my middle finger is going to be here, but my middle finger is curled. So this is where some of the complexity comes from. You can see my middle finger is curled, it's not flat, but my pointer finger is totally flat. Being able to get that digit independence, these are your digits, the independence from each other is really kind of challenging. So if this chord for you as a ukulele player today is a little too complex, don't worry about it. You can always just skip over it, or even just play one of the notes of those chords just to get through it. But that's the key here, is you can see that my pointer finger is flat, my ring finger is curled, and that is the B7, the hardest chord you're gonna encounter so far in this ukulele course. So B7, which only comes up in the bridge. It comes up 3 times, but it only comes up in the bridge. So, you know, if you have to skip it, that's okay. On the brighter side, the next chord, the A7 chord, far easier. It's just 1 finger. Keep it nice and curled on the 1st fret of the 3rd string. Everything else is open. That's your A7 chord. And lastly, you have the D minor chord. This one, again, I wish I wrote in the numbers of the fingers. I forgot to. But it's going to be middle ring index. And that's 2 on the 4th string, 2 on the 3rd string, 1 on the 2nd string, open. And again, you should be hearing a darker, sadder sound. So, very quickly, you have C chord, E minor chord, A minor chord, F chord, G chord, G7 chord, the toughest chord with the bar, B7, A7, and D minor. 9 chords. The most chords of any of the lessons that we've taken care of so far. So yeah, this is the basic version. Now, for those of you who are a little further along in your musical journey or know anything about music, when you listen to the original recording of Elvis, it's actually in 6/8 time signature. If that means nothing to you, don't worry about it. But it really just refers to the counting of the song. You're going to notice that I included a time signature of 4/4 at the beginning of everything, so you're going to be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. But if you were really counting, and you can hear the piano intro doing that, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That can be a little complex, and it really has more to do with the arpeggio of the piano. Again, I promise I won't get too nerdy, but if you're somebody who's going, yes, get into this, then okay, this is cool. If this means nothing to you, then stick to the original plan, which is every time you see a slash mark, you're just going to hit a strum. And this song is really simple enough so that we don't really need a complicated strum pattern. You should just be able to just strum however many times is marked out in the measure. Again, a measure is that little box right there. The beats are the slash mark, so every time you see a slash mark, you're just going to strum that chord. And every time the chord name changes, you're going to switch to that chord to the best of your ability. If you're a beginner, you're going to spend this whole lesson and maybe the next couple weeks just trying to be able to go, okay, this is that chord. All right, let me try to switch to the next one. That could take up all your time, and that's okay. Everybody's going to be somewhere different. If you're fortunate enough to be able to play in time, then you're just going to follow the progression as it is. And I'll just go through the parts right now so you can kind of see what's going on here. There's 2 sheets we included. Oh, no, 2, not 4, 2. 2 sheets we included that I came up with today. It's this one, which is the basic outline. It's showing you each part, what's happening, what you need to do. And we have only 3 parts. You have an intro, you have a verse, there's 4 parts. You have an intro, a verse, a chorus, and then a bridge. The verse and chorus are almost like the same sort of thing. So this is the raw data, if you will. This is just the components of what's happening. The second sheet I included is called the song form. I don't know where I put that sheet. It's gone somewhere. Maybe I didn't print it out. Yeah, that sounds about right. I didn't print it out. But it's basically a list of the order of the parts. So you should see that the song starts with the intro and it describes what's happening, and then the verse. And it's going to show you the lyrics to that particular section. So you'll want to be able to have both sheets to go, okay, like the song form is telling me I need to be playing the verse, so I'm going to go back and look at what the verse is. And on sheet 1, I wrote the first verse of lyrics. You can see, over here, I have the lyrics written down below, but there's more verses and choruses, so I couldn't stack them all there. So just so you have all the lyrics, it's on the song form page. The intro, really simple. It's just the C chord and the G chord. There are no pivot fingers. Pivot fingers are, again, fingers that are common from one chord to the next. Unfortunately, once you finish strumming the C chord choice, you're going to have to do what I call a full reset. Set your fingers, play it twice, and then a full reset again to the C chord 4 times, and then you're into the verse. So this one, the verse is basically split measure, whole measure. What I mean by that is, the pattern is, the first measure is going to be half of the measure is on C, half of the measure is on E minor, and then the next measure is a whole measure on A minor. So split measure, whole measure, split measure, whole measure. Sounds like this. You have C, E minor, A minor for a whole measure. Add my index for the F chord, ring finger plays C, and then the G chord for 4 beats. I've talked about this a couple times in the past weeks as far as how you can strum, and there's really a couple main ways. For this song, you can totally use the thumb brush method, which is to take your thumb and use the pad to brush through. It has kind of a warmer, softer sound, and I really kind of make a fist with my other fingers and just draw my thumb through. That would work really well here. What I was doing is using more of my index, and I kind of hold it at an angle so it's catching partial flesh, partial nail. So you're getting a little bit of that, and you can pick which one is comfortable to you. But you have the verse, and it sounds like this. Wise men say only fools rush in. Then you have the chorus. I can't help falling in love with you. And then you have repeat signs. So, a couple things. First of all, I totally made a typo this morning. I didn't have any whiteout on me. So that thing, if you're going, what is that? It's just totally a typo. I meant to start the C over here, and I screwed up there. But you'll see there are repeat signs. There's one there and one, let's go this way, right over here. So when you get to this point, you just all the way back here, and you're going to start again. And again, if you're referencing the song form sheet, you'll notice that it says after chorus 1 is verse 2. So you keep the same strum pattern for the verse, and you just add those lyrics, and it's shall I say, would it be a sin? Then you ned to chorus 2, which is, the chorus is the same every time, you guys know it. But I can't help falling in love with you. Bill Johnson, good to see ya. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Everybody else, good to see you. Tiffany, Emily, thanks for tuning in. So verse, chorus, then you end up in the bridge. So far it's been really fairly basic chords, nothing too crazy. Then we're into the bridge. So again, this is where you're going to be dealing with the B7 chord. If the B7 is too tough, just play, 2 notes, 1 note, pick your favorite note from that chord, if you had to play E minor twice, and then, I'm just playing the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. Maybe that works. Maybe that'll get you through that if you can't play the whole thing. But it's 3 measures, 3 split measures of E minor to B7. So after you've done that 3 times, you start again with E minor, A7 with your pointer finger, D minor, it's 3 fingers to get there, and then G7 does have a common finger. You get to leave that down there and strum that. So the way that sounds with the lyrics, and it's the same every time, it's the same every time. It sounds like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. And then you're back up to the verse. And then you have another verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, and then the last chorus is doubled so that you would repeat it twice. And it's really that simple. I mean, simple is a relative term. If you're somebody who's played ukulele for a while, then you're going, yeah, this is just 9 chords and a really simple pattern, and it's not too hard. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be hard to be good. This might be something that you can get playing and singing with today, and that's awesome. If you're like within the first, couple weeks or months of your playing, you're going, this is hard, that's great too. It's all about building the muscle memory, which comes from just playing a chord and switching back and forth and just playing them over and over, which in the beginning stages of any string instrument just seems like such a feat. When you see somebody playing it so confidently and you're like, I'm struggling so much, like I must just not be good at this. That's not at all what's happening. It's your fingers, your brain, your muscles just aren't used to it yet. And what it requires is this sort of monotonous, repetitive training, really. I mean, it's just over and over, back and forth. When I have students working on chords, whether it's guitar or ukulele, I usually pick 2 chords and I turn on a metronome and I have them switch back and forth, and I say do it for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes. Do it over and over and over. So to the point where at the end of it, however long it takes, you don't have to think about anything. You're just switching. Your brain says C and you just end up there. And that might be months or even years off, but if you can focus on the small wins, the small gains, which is week 1, I'm horrible, but over this past week I practice and I'm like nanosecond quicker to get into the C chord, well, that's a win. You might not be as good as, the best ukulele player within a week, but if you can look at this small set of gains that you're accomplishing, you're going to be a lot better off. You're going to feel less threatened by the process of sounding like a professional off the bat. If you're a person who doesn't have a ton of patience, this is the perfect instrument for you because it's going to help you develop that patience. But ukulele is not too bad. It should be something that shouldn't take years and years. It should take weeks and months to get a handle on. So this is just another song example that you can use to continue that process. Again, if you're more advanced, I would say if you're more advanced, the one tip that I'll give you is if you want to take this to that 6/8 time signature, you could arpeggiate these chords the way the piano is arpeggiating. Arpeggiating is when you take a chord, which is a collection of notes, and you play them individually in a series as opposed to all at once. And so whether it be with your fingers, you can use the claw technique with your thumb, middle, and index. I use thumb on the two lowest strings, index and middle on the higher. You could go only fools rush in. And you can hear this feeling of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you're a guitar player and you're faking it like me, you could even use a guitar pick and do that sort of down, 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 up, 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 down, down, down. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. That would be the advanced version, which is to take the time signature and do 3 beats on top of every slash mark. So you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a different approach, but if you're someone who's in the more advanced category, you can do that to make it so that it's not boring for you. If you're not in the advanced category and this is more than enough, then just have it be enough. Like I said, steady, consistent practice. If you pick up your ukulele for 10 to 15 minutes every day as opposed to 2 hours like once or twice a week, you'll do better because it's about developing muscle memory. So the more often that you're training your brain to look at the chords, to hold the chords, to play the chords, you don't need a ton of time. Of course, it doesn't really hurt. If you want to spend 2 hours a day, you'll get there quicker, but not everybody has 2 hours a day to spend on this, especially if you're a parent and you got bills and work and all that sort of stuff. I understand that. But you can get it done with 10 or 15 minutes or even 5 or 10 minutes. It's just regular practice. Get this thing in your hand regularly, more consistently than, I'm just going to binge practice, on Sunday when I have a free moment. Pick these little pockets in the day. Play it once a day for 10 to 15, somewhere between 5 and 15 minutes. Do that for a month. Check in with me. Tell me you're not a better ukulele player. I promise you will be, no matter what instrument you're playing, because it's just science. The more you develop that muscle memory, the easier it will get. Even in the beginning when it seems futile and it's so hard, I promise it'll pick up on the back half. So you just clock away those hours like we all do and just hopefully have fun with it and enjoy it, even when it's tough and frustrating. What else you got to do? It's COVID. You're inside, right? Come on. This is the perfect time to learn an instrument. Especially now with all the resources that you have. Like this awesome ukulele class that I hope you guys enjoyed and I'm really glad you guys tuned in for. Again, Ben, Summit Studios, most of you know me, but if you don't, I teach at Summit Studios. This is a free ukulele class. We're asking that if you feel generous, you donate to MAC Charities. It's the Manchester Area Conference of Churches. Really great charity, helps out the community. If you're looking for deeper diving lessons with me or any of the other awesome instructors that we have, get in touch with us. We're on Facebook. We're on summitstudios.org. We're at 860-645-1502. We're booking online lessons every day, teaching them every day. So if you want some more music in your life, get at us. But that's it. Thank you again for tuning in and supporting this class that I put together. I hope you're finding the information valuable, and keep tuning in. We're doing it for the foreseeable future every Wednesday at 7. So keep strumming, keep practicing, and I'll pick it up at the next one with you guys. Until then, hang tight, be well, stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you for tuning in. Good to see you. Great job. Thank you very much.